Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MAPS Group Coaching Program, Language of Sales, with your MAPS coaches, Ron Wexler and Kate Patulski. My name is Paige with MAPS Group Coaching, and I'm just so excited to be on the webinar with you today. First, I want to thank all of you so much for investing in yourself and taking a MAPS Group Coaching program. You're definitely getting this program started off on the right track, and we're so thrilled to have you on this live webinar. By now, everyone has received their welcome email with the schedule, and please note that your most up-to-date schedule will always be posted in Basecamp. Speaking of Basecamp, today you're going to receive an email invitation to join Basecamp after this first session. Instructions to set up your account are included in the welcome email. It's very important that you activate this account, as this is the online portal that will be used for this program. Your weekly workbooks and materials, as well as the webinar recordings, will be posted in Basecamp. Again, that's why it's so important to activate this account. Today you will see your workbook in your taskbar under Handouts. Moving forward, workbooks will be uploaded at least 2 business days prior to the call. Call recordings will be uploaded within 1 business day after the call. I'm going to ask, as a courtesy to your fellow associates, instead of posting in Basecamp or responding to any Basecamp emails, please email us directly at fasttrack@kw.com with any questions, comments, concerns, and it will be our pleasure to assist you. I ask this because each time someone posts in Basecamp or responds to a Basecamp email, the system notifies everyone in the program with an extra email, and we want to eliminate any extra emails that we possibly can. You will have access to Basecamp for 60 days after the last session of this launch. So 60 days after the last session, that's when the program is archived in Basecamp and you will no longer have access to the materials. So take great notes in your workbooks. Going over the format of the webinar, right now everyone is on mute. We do value group participation, so we ask that if you have any questions, please type them into the questions box, and we will address these questions during the Q&A portion of the call. Again, any questions can be directed to fasttrack@kw.com. That's fasttrack@kw.com. Please note that emails are answered between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. That's all for me. Ron and Kate, y'all can take it away.
Yahoo! Welcome. Thank you. So, welcome to the MAPS Language of Sales. We know we have a lot of coaches, agents, team leaders, just top professionals on the line with us here, and we're really excited to deliver this program to you. You know, Diana started this program in 2006 when she first arrived at KW, well, at least at KWRI, and we know that that means that she wanted all of us to improve our skills. So, you've invested in yourself, you've invested in this program, and frankly, we're excited to work with you in an area that's truly a passion of ours. We want to acknowledge you for your desire to take your business to another level through your full participation in this program. I said full participation. We're going to all play this game together. So you're living the bold law. Your business grows to the extent that you do. And believe me, by doing the homework, by participating, by practicing with others, your business will continue to grow. In fact, the more you study the language of sales, the more your business will grow. So during this time together, we're going to be covering various facets of NLP, specifically including persuasive language patterns, concepts to assist you to understand, connect, and communicate with people, and ways to create more effective results in meeting their needs, as well as effective results in your business. So this will be accomplished over a 12-week period. We're going to introduce the material to you. We're going to practice together. You're going to have a Facebook page to practice and critique and work with each other on. Your full participation, completing the materials, keeping your agreements, and participating at a high level is how you're going to get the most out of this investment. And just imagine what will happen to your business when you have the ability to understand, connect with, and powerfully influence your prospects and clients in ways that you're not even aware of right now. Now that's exciting. So I am Ron Wexler. I'm a MAPS coach from Chicago, an agent in Chicago also, and my partner, Kate, who is hopefully here on the line.
I'm here.
Going to join us.
I'm
Awesome.
here. Okay,
So,
I'm Kate Patulski. I'm also a coach with MAPS. I'm a head coach with MAPS. I've been a bold coach in the past, and a lot of my background work is in behavioral sciences and neurosciences and how that relates to performance for you as an individual in an organization. And the first thing that we'd like to address is the realization, right, that each of you came into this program and you have different experiences and different levels in your business. Some of you have taken the language of sales. Some of you may have taken it multiple times. And yet the reality is there still may be some of you that have no experience and no exposure to language patterns. Regardless of your background or your present situation, we suggest that you remain open to maximize the benefits you're going to receive from the work that we're going to do together. It's imperative that you know that when we begin to challenge the way that you see the world, you may at times feel like your foundation has been shaken, right? Because our job is to shake the foundation of your belief systems around language. Honestly, Ron, it's exciting, right? When you begin to understand that you do have control in situations where you didn't think you had control. And you can actually change the thoughts, the feelings, and behaviors of the people you're in front of. And whether it's a buyer, a seller, a teammate, when you change anything, the sudden realization of new ways of looking at things, right, as well as the way of doing things, it may be uncomfortable. And for some of it may feel a little traumatic. Trust me, we're here to support you through the change, and we're going to support you in developing a new way that you speak, a new way that you think, a new way that you feel.
And you know what's amazing about that, when you think about it, you don't have to think about the language you're using right now or how you speak right now. And once you've really worked this through and understand it, it will be the exact same thing. So at the beginning here, Kate and I are kind of lecturing a lot, and then we're going to invite some of you in to join us as we move forward. We get a little further down the road. So right now, you just have to put your ego in check a little bit and really listen to what we're saying and really take it in at a deep level. So consider right now that your ego is in check. When you understand and you're consciously aware as you go through your daily life that you're neither inferior or superior to any other person. You've heard us speak about ego. You've been in classes where we talked about keeping your ego in check. Why do we speak about it the way we do? Consider that when your ego is out of control, it prevents growth. Your ego would love nothing more than to keep you right where you are right now, in the life that you have, the way that you speak, the connections that you have, the success that you have. It closes you down from learning. Remember, ego is edging God out or eliminating growth opportunity. So look at this from the perspective of a window. That's the next slide. When your ego is out of the way or in check, you are like an open window. An open window allows fresh air to come in, and by deciding to participate, you keep hearing that word, participate, in language of sales, with your ego in check, you allow new ideas, other people's perspectives to come in and to give yourself a chance to decide if they work for you. So when your ego's in the way, you're a closed window. When a window's closed, is it possible for fresh air to come in?
Yeah, not
when
really.
When the window is closed, not really. When the window is closed for any length of time, can you see how the air in a room actually becomes stagnant because there's no new air being allowed to flow in? So when you do this, you fail. Learn and grow, and you'll naturally notice the stagnation that you had in your business. So, Kate and I are often asked, how do you get your ego out of the way? Diana talks to all of us about this constantly. Just consider that the ego is simply programming. I know you all know the word programming, that runs you and creates automatic patterns that you repeat over and over and over. Something happens, you repeat the pattern you've always had. You just do the same thing. Every time something happens, you respond to it the same way. So ego programming, which is concerned with the level of consciousness, the levels include security, satisfaction, and power, which always causes you to be closed and guarded. It prevents you from connecting with other people, and it prevents you from growing at the level that you're capable of growing.
So if you guys would turn to and look at, we'll follow along in your workbook. We're actually on page 3, right? So what do we mean by the word security, satisfaction, and power? So if you look at the bottom of your notes and you fill in the first word, right, security, right? Security is about your perspective of your well-being, of, now, I don't know, having enough money, right? Satisfaction, this is number 2, so fill in satisfaction. Satisfaction is your concern about feeling good, about enjoying life, about going after your desires. And then the last one, number 3, fill in the word power, right? Power is about you having your expectations met. And as a result of your expectations met, people will therefore do what you expect them to do. Now, if we look at this, right, Ron said earlier, ego programming is concerned with these levels of consciousness, which are security, satisfaction, and power. Well, what is the focus on? Well, it's a focus on you. These 3 levels cause you to feel separated from others and in competition with others. Now, naturally, as you look at this, you can see how these 3 levels are all about you and no one else. If you've been through BOLD, and I know many of you have, right, you've studied the BOLD laws. So we have a BOLD law, be, do, have, right? When you look at be, do, have, this is where you learn about your way of thinking, your feeling, and your actions make up your current way of being. And your current way of being has gotten you to exactly where you are now. You're just too good to stay there. Open yourself up to learning and growing. Embrace mistakes. Give up looking good. We learn more about how to succeed when we fail. And when we fail and then we adjust. And we operate in this program from there is no failure, only feedback. Right? Embrace failing forward. Is your intention, right? Is it to get your ego out of the way, allowing for the greatest opportunity for growth, and allowing yourself to connect deeply with others in a way that they trust and enjoy working with you? Ask yourself this question, right? Do I want to attempt to manipulate to get what I want? And so, Ron, here's what I mean when I say that, right? You're a coach and you've coached a lot, and Diana's coached a lot, and I'm sure people on the line can hear themselves saying this at some point. Tell me what to say to get them to blank.
Right.
Right?
Right.
What do I say? Just tell me what to say.
What's the magic word that'll get them to sign this piece of paper? Right.
So do I want to attempt to manipulate to get people what I want, to get what I want? Or do I want to connect with people and have them naturally and automatically share with me what they want so I can help them get it? Now the focus is no longer on you, it is on them. So we're going to focus the next 3 months we have together in this program to become more aware of affinity for others. And as you apply what we'll be asking to do, you're going to find that naturally occurs.
Right. You know what's fun too, Kate, is a lot of what's in today's lesson, pieces of it they've heard before. And I said that we were so gentle with lesson 1 because after that, there's going to be a lot of uncharted territory when it comes to communication. So just be ready for that. So before we dig in, we want to quickly remind all of you that you were sent a welcome letter along with commitment of participation for Language of Sales, which had a series of agreements to initial and send back to us through DocuSign. Now, if you haven't gotten them, email fasttrack@kw.com and let them know. Or if you just signed up like last night or first thing today, assume that it's on its way. But if you don't have it, I'd say by first thing tomorrow morning, and please send a message and let us know that you haven't received it. So you know that anytime you embark on a new journey, and I'm talking about anything outside of your habitual way of going about your day, it's going to require you to behave in a new and different manner. So if you've been through BOLD, then you recall point FAR, right? Programming leads to thinking, which leads to feelings, which leads to actions, which leads to results. And you know how we feel about results. So if you're playing at a high level, it's going to stretch you. It's going to stretch you because you're moving outside of that previously held thought and the world that you live in right now. And whenever we are stretched, it's not unusual that there may be times for you to doubt your ability to continue. You might find yourself doubting because you think if it's painful, there must be something wrong, either with the situation, with you. Just get clear that when we talk about no pressure, no diamonds, everything in the world that you want has some pressure with it. The things that come easy to you are already within your abilities. So the field of neuroscience has identified that in order to create new network systems in the brain, you have to experience what we call cognitive dissonance.
And, here's what's, fascinating as you're saying what you're saying, right? It's so natural that we do this. Like something becomes challenging and we doubt, am I in the right place? Or am I in the right business? Maybe I should be doing something else. And yet in psychology, right, cognitive dissonance is the mental stress or the discomfort that's experienced when an individual is confronted with new information that conflicts with their existing ideas or their existing beliefs. Well, right, we know that pain, or what we call dissonance, right, that is the pain you feel in the head. Ron, think about this image for a minute. We have this saying out in the world that I hit the glass ceiling, right? To break through something or break through the glass ceiling, it presupposes you're going to hit the ceiling quite a few times. And when you hit a ceiling, it doesn't feel good on your head. But eventually what's going to happen is you're going to break through it. That's really what pain or dissonance is. And it will occur throughout your time in this program. And so we're setting up a Facebook group. You guys will be advised of what it is in order for you to gain support from others in the program and gain support from Ron, and gain support from myself. Our request is that you participate in this program in spite of. And I'd ask that you write that down, right? Participate in spite of. So we look at that. We think, well, what does that mean? Well, in spite of is this. If you're on the call and you're married or you have a child, a grandchild, parents, you'll notice that you are not always happy with them and they may not always do everything that you like, and sometimes they may create aggravation for you, and that they're still a huge part of your life. Because in spite of everything that's going on around you, you're choosing to love that person. Right? In spite of everything that's going on around you, even if you're sick, you choose to feed your children. You choose to pick them up from school. Right? We know that people can participate in spite of. People that have a life by design, they participate in spite of. People that live a life by default participate subject to. I meant to lead generate. It's just that I had a closing this morning. I meant to lead generate, but somebody called me to go over for a home inspection. That's subject to. We're asking you to participate in this program in spite of the distractions that show up in your life. And when you participate at that level, your business will grow beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now, you might be wondering, so what is the language of sales based on? So here's the interesting dynamic you're going to see between Ron and myself. As I have a background base, and so I know from working with a lot of individuals, you operate from why does it work the way that it works? I want the scientific backing. So we're going to share with you along our journey together scientific backing and then a simplified process in order to execute. So what is the language of sales based on? It's based on neuroscience and quantum linguistics. So let's break this down, and this is going to be on page 5 in your workbook, right? So what is neuro? Neuroscience is what we think. Linguistics, well, linguistics is what we say. And you know this from Bold. Programming is about what we do. So in the language of sales, we've actually combined the study of what we think and what we say that activates what we do or activates the change in another person. See, what it does is language is a method of influencing the brain behavior, right? That's the neuro part. Through the use of language, the linguistic part, and other types of communication like rapport, to enable your listener to recode their brain, causing them to respond in a new way or in the direction of their best interest. This is going to manifest new and better behavior and outcomes. And at the end of the day, as a salesperson, it's going to allow you to become more effective and more efficient in what you do.
All right, so just to simplify the whole thing, right, in the MAPS language of sales, we're going to be focusing on language patterns that allow you as the speaker to move your listener. It doesn't matter if it's a buyer, a seller, your spouse, a child, a team member, just somebody that you're communicating with. It'll allow you to move them powerfully in the direction of their desires. And the utilization of language patterns in our teaching, through the MAPS language of sales is always meant to move the listener forward in reaching their goals and their objectives. It's always about them. It's always about the listener. And, considering the following quote by Mark Sandberg, who wrote the Threat Factor, to impress is an ego game. To influence is a transformation game. The question is, what game are you willing to play? Do you want to play the transformation game?
Well, and this is what's interesting is you think about it. If I'm in sales and my profession is sales, and let's not kid ourselves, we're all selling somebody something every single solitary day. When I'm influencing and I'm transforming somebody's life, do you naturally think they're going to talk about me to other people? And so what happens? My referrals start to increase as a result of the relationship, not even because I'm asking for a referral. It's because of who they were able to become in my presence. Guys, in real estate, we're doing one of two things in every situation with every buyer and every seller. We're either creating clarity or we're creating chaos, and there is never an in-between space. We're inviting you to participate in the transformation game. Who you are and your ability to powerfully use language transforms the experience of the people that are in your presence, period. Now, the fact that you can transform one's experience through your being and language clearly illustrates the opportunity that's in front of you through your participation. Building trust is at the foundation of every great relationship, and I write that down someplace, right? Building trust is at the foundation of every great relationship. It's important that we build trust. Build trust with your clients. Allow them to believe what you say, just as you get to believe what I say as we go through this coaching program together. And one way to have people trust you is to have people feel understood. This is the main reason we approve of everything our clients say, right? Now, Diana's not a believer that the customer is always right. I mean, she'll say, right, I'm a believer that the customer may not always be right. I'm just going to allow them to be wrong with dignity. That's an art. One way to allow them to trust what you say and to have them get the feeling of being understood is to listen intently. Quite frankly, this is one of the reasons that we do language of sales on the phone. It causes us to hear tonality better because we pay attention. Now, I know a number of you lead generate over the phone. So the way that we listen, paying attention to tonality really matters. I listen intently, which automatically is making you feel understood. And then the last thing is this ability to use what we call keyword backtracking, and this is on page 6, keyword backtracking, right? So what is keyword backtracking? Keyword backtracking, and this is in your notes, is using and repeating the words they use, the words that they say.
Right. So it's listening to their common words and just repeating them back and putting them into your use in the conversation. And when people hear what's comfortable to them, which is the words that they use, they're more open to hearing what you're speaking. So you always want to approve the client. If they say, I think my home is worth more, you approve. You say, I hear you, and I appreciate what you're saying. You have a great home. And though I don't make the market, I do interpret the market, which automatically allows us to price your home correctly so it sells. So saying, I hear you, and I appreciate what you are saying, allows them to feel heard and understood. We're getting in alignment with them. Language allows us to align, right? You've all heard this, that language is 7% words, 38% tonality, and 55% body language. So alignment and creating a state of being, aligning yourself with them, having them feel comfortable with you is a great first step. So we also want you to consider that language is just language until your being to others and your actions represent the language you are using. So if they're not congruent, your effectiveness is basically affected significantly. It's for this reason that we focus on both state of being and the language patterns throughout language of sales. So magically knowing the right words isn't always it. And I know people come to Kate and Diana and I all the time and are like, what's the perfect words? It's not the point. You know, in bold, we shared with you that 7% of the meaning of communication comes from the words, 38 from the tonality, which is the way it's said, 55 from body language. We keep sharing those with you for a reason. And, you know,
Yeah.
Edward T. Hall stated, oh, go ahead.
No, yeah. You know, here's the thing, and I know we've all heard it, and you've probably seen it on Facebook. You know, somebody will say, who you're being speaks so loudly, I can hardly hear what you're saying.
Right.
Right? And there's this amazing thing that happens through our mirror neuron communication. When we have a belief in what we're communicating, our results are naturally going to increase. And, you know, Ron, I love the play between the two of us in doing the program and the work we get to do with Diana, because we're looking at it from the aspect of understanding what's underneath it. Because if I can understand what's underneath it, I'm building my belief. When my belief exists, it's easy and effortless to use language patterns in my dialogue. Now today what we're going to do is we're going to use a language pattern that comes specifically from bold. And some of you have worked on it surface level in bold. And it's the idea of embedded command. So we're on page 7 in your notes if you want to follow along in page 7. And what we're going to ask at this time is we'd like to open it up. And could we get, I don't know, a handful of people that would be active, willing to actively engage. And so all that looks like is you're going to use your raise the hand I don't know, Nicole, if we can find that little symbol. We're going to have you raise your hand. Oh, there we go. You're going to have you raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, what we're going to do is we're going to take a number of you off mute, and we're going to have you actively engage. It's really important during this segment that we're utilizing the effective tonality of an embedded command, and the only way we're going to know that is to get a group of you to participate. Well, those of you that are participating maybe in a muted situation, you're still doing it in your office, you're hearing the difference. So if you'd like to participate, can you raise your hand, and we're going to take a few people off mute. So we're going to give Nicole a second to do that. While she's doing that, let's talk for a minute about embedded commands, right? Oh, if you come off mute, you have to be in a quiet location. If you're in a noisy location, that's going to be disruptive to everybody. So we'd ask people that are going to come off mute and you want to actively engage, that you're very sensitive to your surroundings and the impact it has on the group. Okay, so let's look at embedded commands. Are one of the most powerful tools of the MAPS Language of Sales program, and it's the perfect way for us to start this session. When using embedded commands, you automatically and without effort move beyond the client's conscious resistance, and you easily impact their response, their understanding, and their willingness to move in the direction of action. So you probably heard this, and that people don't hear everything you say. Right, there's a lot, and Ron's going to cover later what those stats look like. There's a lot they don't hear. Embedded commands assure you that they're hearing your message. You're going to also hear out in the world, embedded commands could be referred to as embedded suggestions, right? The use of embedded commands is actually planting a suggestion in the mind of the listener at a deeper level than the words being used on the surface. So let me just give you an idea and follow me. And if you're getting a little headache, remember this is good because this is dissonance, it's pain, it's the bold law, no pressure, no diamonds. That's how I know I have active people, no pressure, no diamonds, right? Embrace pain in this program, or as my good friend Dan Harker says, my job is to irritate you, right? Embedded commands are words and phrases enclosed or embedded within a larger context. Think of context like a picture frame. We put things inside of the frame, right? We like to think of them as word units. So they're word units of meaning that can have an impact beyond. If you've got a lot of noise in the background, just use mute on your headset and then come on when you want to talk. Thank you. So they're word units, meaning that they can have an impact beyond that which is apparent or intended by the context within which they appear. So I'm going to give you an example to make it clearer, right? Let's say that there's a man, John, and John is working in an office with his buyer's agent, Mary. And John says, I feel really bad today, Mary. Now, John's intention behind that, Ron, is to distinguish how he's feeling, right?
Right, how he's feeling.
How he's feeling. So he says, gosh, I feel really bad today, Mary. Well, the phrase, feel really bad today, Mary, is an embedded suggestion to Mary to feel bad. Even though in this case, the apparent reference is to John, not actually to Mary. Now, if John uses enough of these embedded suggestions or commands, very soon Mary will begin to respond to these suggestions or commands without even being consciously aware of doing so. Right? Well, this occurs because of the effect these commands have on Mary's internal representations, right? The pictures inside. And we're going to continue to focus on that throughout the program. Let's just remember, John has now directed Mary to where to put her attention, which now causes Mary to feel bad. And so what do we have? What you focus on?
Expands.
Expands. So the more John feeds Mary, unknowingly, the embedded command, feel bad, Mary's focus will turn to everything in alignment with feeling bad. This kind of goes back to Gandhi. I will not allow another to walk in my mind with their dirty feet. Because we become who we surround ourselves with, right? And now I'm getting to a whole nother training program. I just want you guys to start connecting these dots around the utilization other people's language has on your internal state, which then impacts your business, right? Embedded commands work so effectively because they're almost invisible. Through the embedding process, that's how they become invisible. They're invisible because they're working on an unconscious level, unconscious meaning outside awareness, right? When something works outside of awareness, there's no resistance by your listener. Do you think Mary was resisting John's "I feel bad today," thinking he was doing something to her?
No.
She wasn't even aware, but yet it's residing in her unconscious mind. And since embedded commands operate below the level of a person's awareness, the person responds without resistance. The cumulative effect is to gently lead your listener, your prospect, in the direction allowing them to achieve their goals and objectives. Now, for those of you that are off mute, have you had a time when you've worked with a buyer or seller where they've complicated the process?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It happens often, doesn't it? For those of you that are building a team, have you ever found the people on your team complicate the process?
Yes.
And they have a different goal and objective than what they're actually achieving, right?
Yes.
So they have a different goal and objective, and I can learn how to utilize language to move them closer to what they want. Are you now in a position of influence?
Yes.
Yes.
It is key for you to understand that learning to use embedded commands operates whether the prospect consciously is paying attention or not. This makes it really useful with prospects that, for whatever reason, are not giving you their full attention. So, Ron, what does the research tell us about the way that we hear?
All right. So, what the research says, that your ears are more effective than your mouth, right? We speak about 125, and those of us speak quickly, speak maybe 175 words per minute, and we hear about 450 words per minute. So the research has actually shown that our brain only processes 17 to 25% of what we're hearing. So that's why embedded commands are so effective when we communicate, right? When you use them properly, they give the listener's unconscious mind thoughts to focus on and process at a later time. And that causes them to voice those ideas as if they had taught, you had taught them to them, right? So they act on commands or suggestions, and I always think about these are not the droids you're looking for, right? I mean, it goes right past their conscious, and they're able to receive what you're sharing at a deeper level. So you literally become the voice inside their head. And you're going to use embedded commands when you speak, so you will be more persuasive when influencing others to make decisions. So embedded commands are just a series of words. They stand alone and make a command, and that command goes straight through to the unconscious of your listener. And the reason they become effective is because they are marked in your language. And basically, the way we do that is we pause before the command. You learn this in bold, I hope. You pause before. You say the command a little louder than the rest of the sentence. Use a downswing at the end of the command. And you pause after the embedded command. So let's just review some of the embedded commands.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If we go back and you look at this, and we're going to keep this up on the screen if you're watching the webinar, and again, this is on page 7 in your notes. The process sounds easy. And for those of you that have worked with embedded commands, what is that Bowl law Diana says? It sounds simple, it's just not
Easy.
Easy.
It requires an enormous amount of practice. So when you're thinking about an embedded command or embedded suggestion, at the end of the day, what we'd ask that you think about is within the context of your message, they walk away, and Ron talked about with this, that unconscious thought as if they'd owned it themselves. Trust me, list with me, sign the contract. Because those were embedded within the context of a sentence. So here's some embedded commands. These are on page 6 or 7 in your notes. And we're going to look at these together, and we're going to ask you, even when you do language of sales, lock yourself in an office, close all the doors, make sure you're by yourself. You're going to look like an absolute fool. People are going to wonder who you're talking to. And there is research that shows this. When you learn a concept and you execute the concept immediately, you move information from short-term memory into long-term memory. And that is critical for your long-term growth. So that practice on the line, which some people are like, I love the program, I wish we didn't practice. Well, why do we hate to practice, guys?
Okay. Looks like that's one of Matt Johnson's listings that we send you over to Seth, and he'll be able to help, okay?
I think that wasn't really meant for me. I appreciated it, though. I think that was meant for somebody else. Have any of you noticed you might avoid practice and role play because you want to look good?
Yes.
You want to be right? You want to have it all figured out? The interesting thing, Ron, and I said this to somebody the other day, I said to him, if you had absolutely no competition in your marketplace and every listing you went on, you took that listing, would you ever get as good as you can be?
No, not at all.
It would never happen, right? If you guys started the year and you didn't set a goal, would you ever have anything that you're moving towards or push yourself to be better than you already are?
No, there's no reason.
No. And so here's the thing. Practice allows you to see there may be somebody better than me, yet what that does is it causes me to get better. And our process in life is actually to get better. If we weren't meant to grow, we'd be crawling around on our bellies. We're growth-seeking organisms, so competition in my mind is really good. Hanging around with Diana, man, you play at the top of your game. She catches you, right? So when you look at this, I am a freak about deliverance of an embedded command in the way that's effective, and so is Ron. And so that means we're going to pause. We're going to say the command. It's going to be louder than the rest of the sentence. You're going to use a downswing, which sometimes is uncomfortable. We're going to grossly exaggerate the downswing, and then we're going to pause after. That's the way it analogically marks in the brain. Yeah, say that 10 times. Analogically marks in the brain, which causes them to stop and pay attention and grab those words. So here's what we got, and it's going to sound like this. Feel good, and I'm going to ask you to be overly vocal in the downswing. So you notice how low my voice goes. I'm pushing the sound to the back of my throat. So if you're on the line, say it with me. Feel good.
Good.
Good, right? Okay, so we're going to go through. Now we say, reduce your price.
Reduce your price.
Okay, now I'm going to notice, guys, notice what happens when we get going and we're going faster or louder. Where does our voice tend to trail? It tends to trail up. And when it trails up, it sends doubt to the mind of your listener. And if it sends doubt to the mind of our listener, are we on the right page?
No.
No. We're doing exactly opposite of what we desire. And so that feel good, reduce your price, buy now, do it today, get excited, do what I say, sign the contract. Here's one that screws with a lot of people. Trust me. Whenever you have something that ends with a vowel, where does our voice go? It goes high, right? Trust me, E is in the back of your throat. This is going to feel like I'm a speech pathologist, and I'm going to ask you, put your thumb and your finger on your lymph nodes. And now say the letter E. You guys feel sound resonating in the back of your throat. You're going to To make your voice go down, you're going to push sound to right underneath your front teeth. So it's trust me. So your tongue, if you push it against the front of your bottom teeth, it will bring your voice down. Instead of rolling your tongue backwards, it is a practice, and it will pay off.
Yes.
Trust me.
Trust me.
Believe me.
Trust.
I'm asking everybody to do it where you are. And yes, I know you might feel silly. You will not feel silly when the money's rolling in.
Believe me.
So, or Diana teaches in bold. What does she say? Drive your hand down. Believe me. Trust me. So that voice is resonated deep in your throat behind your front teeth, not up in your nose, lymph nodes. Set an appointment. Feel comfortable. Make a decision. Hire me. Accept the offer. Think like a buyer. Price your home to sell. So let's do something, okay? We're gonna go through now. As you can imagine, there's many possibilities for embedded commands, and we ask you use your creativity in your homework assignment this week to create more embedded commands and use them to create powerful sentences to enhance your business quickly and get results. So we're going to clarify this concept of embedding. All right, so let's just say to embed a command or suggestion, we have to make it part of a sentence. And that sentence is going to contain a lead, and it may actually contain a finishing segment to the sentence as well. So let's say we want to leave them with the message, list your home with me. Now, is list your home with me a complete thought?
No.
Yes.
Yes,
No?
it is. List your home with me. It's a complete thought. I could say to you, list your home with me. It's a command. However, could we make an agreement it's a direct sentence commanding or strongly suggest that somebody does something? And for most people, it's probably not going to work.
Right.
What an embedded command or suggestion does is, although it's direct, it's a softer approach because of the embedding process of the command in the sentence. So if we use a lead-in, like, so when you list your home with me, and then we use a finishing segment, right? You'll automatically notice how my proactive process creates results exceeding the efforts of other agents. Now we have an embedded command. I'm still leaving them with list your home with me, right? When you list your home with me, you will automatically notice how my proactive approach creates results exceeding the efforts of other agents. Is there a difference between list your home with me and the second approach?
Yes. Very.
Very different. Is the second one more influential?
Yes.
Far more influential. So we've given you some room. If you flip over to page 8, and then what we're going to do is we're going to open it up for a few minutes of Q&A, and then we're going to go over the homework, okay? So we've got an example here, and we say to you, all right, on one it says, this is page 8. How would you use embedded commands when you're talking to an expired listing on the phone and you're working to set an appointment? And we're going to give you, 30 seconds, write an embedded command sentence with the outcome of set an appointment. And again, if you're on the call and you're resistant to this piece at all, remember what Diana says, get your ego out of the way. The more you practice now, the faster you start to move this to long-term storage. And then we have a second one. So, and then we're going to open it up and look at them. We have a second one. The second one is you're sitting with your seller and you're discussing the market. And your intention is to get them to reduce the price. Let's see how you do putting a sentence structure together. Simple is fine. I'm going to give you guys another 30 seconds, and then we're going to see what we've got. Okay, who has one? And this is a good time too, guys. If you're not live with us, you can always use the question box, and you guys type in your sentence, and we look at those as well. So we've got a little bit going on here. We've got a great team behind us helping us too. So what would be a good embedded command sentence to get an appointment with an expired while you're on the phone?
I have one, Kate.
Perfect.
Trust me, the sooner you meet with our listing specialist.
I'm going to jump in there and say,
hey guys, if you're talking in the background or you got noise, use mute. Thank you. Okay, so say it one more time, sorry.
Sorry. Trust me, the sooner you meet with our listing specialist, the sooner you will see how our approach will get your home sold quickly and for top dollar.
Okay, so the embedded command was?
Trust me.
Trust me. Okay, so looking at it, you're pretty coachable, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Drive the E down, even if it means pounding your fist down, okay? And it's in this context, we're going to be overly exaggerated because then when you're on the phone, you're going to pull back and it's going to sound natural. So we have trust me.
Trust
Be
me.
loud, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can you do it one more time?
Trust me, the sooner you meet with our listing specialist, the sooner you will see
Let's
how
rewind.
our
This is what I love, and this is why I love that you're actively engaging, because naturally what you already know, you're going to learn faster and move forward faster than everybody else on the call. Trust me. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
Trust me, the sooner you meet with our listing specialist, the sooner you will see how our approach will get your home sold quickly and for top dollar.
Perfect. Right?
Awesome.
You guys, when you're doing your practice, you want to be embarrassed to be in your own space.
Right? It has to be completely over the top when you're practicing, because you're automatically going to tone it down when you're doing it live. So don't be afraid to be louder, deeper voice, whatever it is. Don't be afraid
Even
to take
that,
it a little,
right.
what seems ridiculous.
Everybody say this with us. Trust me.
Trust.
Trust me.
Me. Way down. Trust me.
Me.
Trust me.
Hey, keep practicing those ones. Trust me. Like me. Work with me. List with me. Those knees, you want it to feel gravelly in the back of your throat. Otherwise, it will sound, when our voice upswings, it creates doubt in the mind of our listener. And you've all had that experience where you're like, I don't know what it is. I don't exactly trust what they're saying. Okay, do we have one more example?
Yeah, I have an example.
Perfect.
Okay.
Mr. Seller, I would love to set
Oh,
a time.
Oh, careful background noise. Lots of background noise.
I don't know if that was from me or not.
Sure, no, you're good.
Mr. Seller, I would love to set a time to come over to your house and discuss listing with me.
So your embedded command was?
Set a time and listing with me.
Okay, so it's okay. The grammar, throw out the window. We don't care in language of sales, right?
Yep.
So set a time, list with me. Out of everything they hear, right, what they process out of those 450 words they're hearing, what are they hearing?
Set a time and listing with me.
Set a time, list with me. I want to make sure everybody on the call understands the utilization. We had somebody write in and they say, I specialize in homes that didn't sell the first time. That's why we should set an appointment so I can help you get your home sold.
Set an appointment.
get your home sold.
Right.
2. Right, 2. All right, let's get one person that does the second one, and then Ron, you want to open it up for a quick Q&A before we do homework?
Absolutely.
Okay, does anybody have one about getting somebody to reduce the price?
I do.
Anyone?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, great. Let's hear it.
The market has told us there isn't a buyer at X amount of dollars. Let's do the right thing, reduce your price, and get you to X location by X amount of time. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay, perfect. Go through what are your 2 embedded commands and really pay attention to your downswing. Just your 2 embedded commands standalone.
Do the right thing. Reduce
Do the
your
right
price.
thing. That was good. Reduce your price.
Do the right thing. Reduce your price. Awesome.
So great sentence structure. Practice the delivery over and over and over again. It's interesting when we pull out the embedded command, many people will notice their voice go down. When we embed the command into the sentence and we start moving along, what happens to our voice by nature?
Back up. Right. So one of the things we do.
Up.
Right. One of the things we do when we're writing them is to put 3 dots in front of and 3 dots behind, so that as you're practicing, you're automatically triggered. And Kate, don't we sometimes just put it in all caps too, the actual embedded command?
I've
done that a lot.
To raise my voice, keep the downswing. So for me, Ron, when I write my sentence structures, I actually put a down arrow after every embedded command to create a mechanism for me to remember to bring my voice down. Right? So if I were to say to somebody, strategically, if we reposition your property, we increase your buyer traffic, when in turn increases your opportunity to say yes to an offer. Now, trust me, when they're hearing what I'm saying, they're not questioning it.
So one thing before we talk about the homework, remember what we started with. Get your ego out of the way. Remember, at a cellular level, you are programmed to run from anything that's unusual or different to protect yourself. It's your fight or flight response. Your success is going to come from you ignoring that and doing what you know you need to do to have the success you want. So don't be afraid to be afraid. Just move past it. All right, so you want to go over the homework then?
Yeah, so homework here on our Facebook page, you can post any questions that we have. We'll be shooting out an email to everybody and sending an invite to you to join the page. You can start posting your homework on the page, and we'll critique your homework or give you feedback on your homework. We're asking you to look at your LOS commitment agreement, sign the agreement, send it back to Max. We're also having you write 5 embedded command sentences. Diana says we're too nice. She thinks we should be doing 10. We're doing 5 right now. 5 embedded command sentences. And they should be written around closing for an appointment while prospecting. How many of you could use more appointments?
You betcha.
I could.
Yeah. And so if we put our focus on all the sentences we're writing on the lead generation we're doing and then closing for appointments, right? And then we're going to do that Monday through Friday. And then throughout the week, 10 times intentionally every day. So the way that I do it in my life, and when you guys are doing homework, we're doing homework as well. We're writing sentences because there's never going to be a time that there's dead space and we don't have a sentence. So I will take 10 pennies and I put them on my desk throughout the day while I'm coaching, working with coaches. I'm moving the pennies as I use an embedded command. We're going to ask you to use 10 embedded command sentences intentionally every day.
Yes.
And then create a notebook or a folder that you label MAPS Language of Sales. Keep your work in it. All of a sudden what starts to happen is I start to create a lot of language that I can utilize in the work that I'm doing. Embedded commands is the foundational language pattern based on the last session that we went through. And I know many of you are going through it for a second time, and honestly, this is no different than BOLD 10 times. I mean, I can't even tell you the number of times I've done language of sales. You're going to continue to get better and better and better at it over time. This foundational piece, do the homework. The more you focus on the homework for this week, the easier next week is going to become for you. Fair enough?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Any quick questions before we wrap up today? Okay, we've got a number of great participation. So for those of you writing in sentences, and I'm looking at all these sentences, really good. Practice the delivery of them, and we're going to open up next week's call with a review of homework. Fair enough?
Yep.
Fair enough.
Okay, thanks for investing an hour with us at session 1 of Language of Sales. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you at session 2 or on our Facebook page.
Likewise. Go get them.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You guys.